President, I have the A1 amendment.
Senator Dziedzic offers the A1 amendment. The Secretary will report the amendment.
Senator Dziedzic moves to amend House File Number 991 as amended pursuant to Rule 45 as follows. Page 16, after line 14, insert. This is the A1 amendment.
To the amendment, Senator Dziedzic.
Mr. President, I have the A22 amendment.
Senator Dziedzic, can you please explain the A1 amendment while it's getting distributed to members before we do the amendment to the amendment?
Yes, the A1 amendment, Mr. President, similar to Senator Rest and Senator Eakin, raises taxes on basically the top 1%. It raises net investment income tax. And so I just want to explain a little bit what investment income is. So this is not taxing your everyday working Minnesotans. These are people who have income from corporate bonds, from dividends, from interest, and from capital gains. And so it is a very small portion, and the bill taxes 3/4% and raises about $250 million.
Discussion on the A1 amendment. Senator Dziedzic.
I move I have the A22 amendment to the amendment.
Senator Dziedzic offers the A22 amendment to the amendment. The Secretary will report the A22.
Senator Dziedzic moves to amend the Dziedzic amendment to House File Number 991 as follows. Page 1, after line 3, insert. This is the A22 amendment.
To the A22 amendment to the amendment, Senator Dziedzic.
Thank you, Mr. President. As Senator Rest said, a lot of the benefits in the underlying bill help companies. And so what this amendment does is it helps community and people. Some of this is conformity, and some of it is some places where I think that we could do a little more to help everyday Minnesotans. It includes federal conformity on benefits for volunteer firefighter and emergency responders. So my community, Minneapolis, we have paid full-time firefighters, but a lot of communities throughout the state use these volunteer firefighters. And so this is federal conformity and excludes up to $50 a month. And it's for tax year 20 and 21. Costs about $900,000. Then the underlying bill gives PPP relief to a lot of companies, and a lot of the companies that got PPP relief early on had established banking relationships. So a lot of people couldn't get it, and then in the first special session last year, we did a grant to some small businesses to help them because they were not able to get PPP and get assistance, and so this bill gives a one-time subtraction to those small businesses that received a grant in the first special session. It also has federal conformity for discharge of mortgage indebtedness, and so we have done this in the past. The feds this year did it for retroactive for 2018 through 2020, and they capped that amount at $2 million, and then they also extended it going forward for 2021 to 2025, and they capped it at $750,000. This doesn't help a large number of people, but for those people who have lost their homes and get foreclosure, usually you have a medical issue or you lost your job, and that's how you lose your home. Maybe many of us here remember the foreclosure crisis from probably around 2010. It was devastating. And so for those people that lose their home, they get the loan forgiven. Then they find out maybe a year later that they have to pay income taxes on that loan forgiven. So they couldn't afford to pay the mortgage in the first place. If they had money to pay the mortgage, they wouldn't be where they are. And so now this will give them relief so they don't have to pay that tax on that forgiven loan. We have a housing crisis in Minnesota. We heard in the bill discussion on the omnibus housing bill last week, I think it was last week, about 50,000 housing units short. The underlying bill, Senate File 961, creates a housing tax credit and modifies the rate for 4D low-income housing to encourage housing development. That could go a long way to help with that shortage. The 4D provision gives some property tax relief for those who agree to provide and keep low-income housing. This amendment also provides some property tax relief. It increases the max amount for renter's credit refund by $50 depending on their income. It lowers the threshold percentage for incomes above $7,340 and reduces the copay percentage for incomes above $5,530. This will help about 303,000 renters, and they'll receive an average of $127. 56% of people experiencing homelessness said that they couldn't find a place to live that they could afford. And I think this provision will help them and help people stay in those homes. This could help Minnesotans, no matter where they live or what they look like, stay in their homes. We also added a provision in this amendment that is based off of Senator Klein, Senate File 138, and it's property tax special targeting. So for the most part, local governments kept the property taxes low this year, but because of budget increases and pressures next year, they may have to raise taxes. And so what this special targeting provision does is it lowers the percentage threshold from 12% to 10% to give them special targeted relief. So you have to have your your property tax raised more than $100, and you have to meet this threshold. And so it is very targeted. The underlying bill adds $5 million for a fund for Department of Health to provide tobacco cessation. Clearway, Minnesota has done a very good job. They came into existence after the tobacco settlement in around 1998, and they've done a very good job helping to educate young people, especially on the dangers of smoking. And so is what this amendment does is that provides that $5 million goes forward. We also included Senator Clausen's bill, Senate File 219, and this is federal conformity. It exempts employer-paid student loans payments up to $5,250 for tax year 2020 to 2025. It also has Section 529 conformity, which is the college savings plans, and this is expanded so that it covers apprenticeships and allows for student loan payment, and that costs about $800,000. We've also included Senator Nelson's Senate File 1777, and that is the dependent care credit. And we heard earlier, I'm going to find my notes here, in committee, when Senator Nelson discussed this bill, her comments really stuck with me because she said this bill, Senate File 1777, which is amended into this amendment, says this bill addresses the fact that Minnesotans have been paying for so much for care. This helps lower and mid-income parents afford high-quality care. This helps middle-income families not on public assistance, but who cannot afford high-quality care. And this helps address the fact that there are a lot of women in this pandemic who left the workforce due to child care reasons because they didn't find anybody to take care of their kids. And so hopefully this will help. So the bill already indexes K-12 education credit and subtraction threshold amounts. That will help many families. We've heard a lot about the child care crisis in greater Minnesota, and the underlying bill also establishes a licensed in-home child care provider credit to encourage more affordable daycare options. And so this just kind of piggybacks on that and continues to help families with child care affordability. This could help about 48,000 Minnesotans. And then we also put in this bill, in the underlying bill, we add under a priorities list in Minnesota Statutes 16A, we have a priority list, and we added, we have in there right now the budget reserve so that if there is a positive budget balance in the November forecast, we put money into the reserve. So that got me thinking when we did some other additions, what are some of the priorities in our state? And I believe that no matter where we live or what we look like, all Minnesotans want the best for their kids. We want schools to have resources. I know many of you have heard from your school districts about the increasing special ed cross-subsidy and how the state and the Fed need to pay our fair share. So at some point in about 2006 to 2013, there is a special education aid payment percentage that was at about 74%. We dropped it down. It was a budget shift. And then in 2013, we raised it up to 97.4%. So is what this amendment does, it says if there is a positive budgetary balance in November, it is our priority that this special education percentage point should be shifted to 100%. Right now, they get 90 of 97%. So this will get rid of that gimmick and end that shift, because I believe special ed is a priority. I think this amendment helps Minnesota communities, and I ask for a roll call vote and a green vote.